You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show number 572 for Sunday, the 16th of November, 2025.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jayne Phipps, we are your guide to the place where dreams begin. Well, by the wonders of technology, Jayne is here and recording, whilst also being on the Disney Fantasy, enjoying the luxury of this said cruise ship following its dry dock and cash grabbing alteration. Sorry, I shouldn't say cash grabbing, but let's be honest, they wanted a luxury experience on this ship. So bye bye Kids Club. We're going to put a funnel tower suite in its situ and charge $10 million for anyone who wishes to stay in it.
Yes, so I'm speaking to you from the future.
Yeah. Mentioning that and linking to prior shows, Jayne, you asked for a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
Go on.
Your challenge on the Disney Fantasy is to go and record pictures and videos of all the things that they have refurbed during the dry dock, including gaining access to the tower suite.
Oh, crikey. How on earth I'm going to make friends with people? Oh, my goodness, Michelle, what are you asking me to do?
Give that job to Symes. Little note under the door. Hi, we're Jayne and Symes. My husband is amazing and would love to meet you and sketch you. P.S. Can we come inside your room?
That sounds like a whole other sort of cruise ship, doesn't it? I'm not quite sure, yeah.
Sketch me like one of your French girls,
Yes,
Jack.
I'm thinking that maybe that's not the way to go with this approach. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, he will be drawing whilst we're on the cruise ship because we have 13 days. It's inevitable that his sketching pencils, whether they be physical pencils or digital, will be out at some point.
Jayne, you've got something that you found that tickled your fancy, and you want to share that with us now. Something to do with the United Kingdom Pavilion.
Yeah, well, I have to give a bit of a shout out to the good old Disney Food Blog. They kind of put a question on Facebook a little while ago asking what UK people actually thought about the UK Pavilion at EPCOT and what our kind of must-dos and one thing another. And I mean, we've talked about the UK Pavilion before, Michelle, in the past, and I think it's suffice to say it's not our go-to sort of area. I mean, the fish and chips are okay, but everything else kind of feels like I don't know how to describe it. It's like an otherworld experience because it's such a sanitized version of what somebody who isn't British thinks the UK is like. I mean, we've always had a little bit of gripes, haven't we? Do we dare mention trifle?
No.
Because we know that the American version of what they think trifle is, I mean, crikey, trifle can vary from one end of the UK to another. So there's certain items that you maybe just don't even attempt to kind of recreate because you're going to offend somebody somewhere.
But I'm sure that each pavilion isn't 100% reflective of each country because it's used as a selling tool to get people to go and visit those places. So if it literally showed what any major city in England looked like after 8 o'clock at night, I am sure it would not look anything like the image that is portrayed. For a start, it's nice and clean. There's nobody sleeping and having a nap with all their life belongings in a supermarket trolley with them. There's the ability to walk around and feel safe. Particularly as a female, that's something I never now would do in a city in the United Kingdom. Whereas when I was 18, 19, it was a completely different thing. The buildings that they have chosen are, I suppose, a reflective view of a bygone era. Because to be quite honest, the properties that you're seeing being built now that most people live in aren't really reflected in the United Kingdom's pavilion either. But I think from what you were saying, you were seeing quite a lot of comments with regards to food, and this links into the Gordon Ramsay story that we shared the other week about the Carnaby coming to
Mm.
Disney, downtown Disney in Disneyland. And I know Dis Down Under suggested, why don't Gordon Ramsay introduce a restaurant at Disney Springs? And jokingly suggested to replace the Rose and Crown. However, I think there would be an uproar from fans of the Rose and Crown. But what does the populace on their social media say about some of these ideas with the United Kingdom?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of disparaging about it not being a proper pub. Um, there's quite a lot of never get the fish and chips because it doesn't taste like it should be back home. It's not a proper chippy. Was quite a lot of comments that were going through. Um, somebody somebody said a lot of talking about the the snacks and things that you can buy inside the stores, and it's like, the cost of buying, shall we say, a Twix or a Curly Wurly. And I think if you go in there as a non-British person and just listen for the British accents, I think you'll have a lot of people going, how much? They
Yeah.
want me to pay what for that? I can get that back home in insert name of supermarket name for like a third of that price. So I think there's quite a lot of, and I suppose it's a British sense of humour as well, isn't it? We kind of go in there expecting as well to see things that are the stereotypical images of what we as Brits must do, whether it's the red phone box that don't work over here anymore because they're all either, I think the one in my village is actually set up as a book library, that type of thing. Um, Whether it's the fact that you walk in, it's full of Twinings tea. Don't get me wrong, lovely Twinings tea, but do the vast majority of us Brits drink Twinings tea? Um, no. Yorkshire tea, maybe.
Yeah.
Twinings, not so much. We like a proper cuppa, not something that's fancy and got flavours and goodness knows what else in it. So I think it's quite interesting. Somebody said, I honestly forget it's a pavilion and we tend to walk straight through it, which I thought,
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of is a little bit because it's on that main sort of thoroughfare through. It doesn't feel that it has that area that you want to go into. Because unless you go
Mm.
round by the shops and you go into the back area, or unless they've actually got a band playing in the bandstand or something happening there, you could very well miss it. I mean, to be fair, we went and sat in there and had a coffee on a park bench back in March, and it was so quiet. It was untrue back there. I think there was a line for a meet and greet, but that was literally about it.
I've got a plan, Jane. Mwahaha, she says. I have got an evil plan to improve that part of the United Kingdom pavilion to get people into that area so that they can then pick up a delicious edible treat, try it out whilst listening to some music, whilst sat on the grass, and get people in. And you know what I'm going to suggest, don't you?
I have no idea what you're going to suggest.
I want a Greg's.
Do we want to subject the Americans to Greg's?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, they'll love them. I follow a New York-based vlogger called John Barr, and I followed him over a past few years to get the food vibe and the vibe of what to do in visiting New York. Well, recently he went over to the United Kingdom and did a ranking of all the different places he could go and get something for a snacky lunch. And he visited Greg's and he was in awe of the flaky pastry of the sausage roll. He loved the tasty meat based steak bake. And I just think France has got its Ponzi, very expensive $13-15 croissant. Let's get a supersized sausage roll a la Greg's into the UK pavilion. We can bring in breakfast treats so they can have the traditional breakfast thing. You can pick up a proper British bacon butty and a coffee. It may be a little bit more than the Greg's in the UK. Okay, fair dues, I'll pay for it. And then throughout the day, you can go pick up different types of traditional fresh bakes from the Greg's oven. And they do vegan ranges, so we can cover the plant-based. It may not be, to your particular taste, but it would drive people into the back of that pavilion to go and spend their money at a Greg's and then enjoy sitting on the grass and enjoying their baked good.
It would be more authentic, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Perhaps Rose and Crown, though, should be Weatherspoons.
Oh, God, no.
No,
No.
you see, you can't say that, Michelle. You've just said that we can have a Greg's, but we can't have a Weatherspoons.
Well, the reason being it might entice my mother to go to Walt Disney World if there's a Weatherspoons there, because she goes every Tuesday afternoon without fail. You could be dying in hospital and my mum would still fit in a spoons trip on a Tuesday. It is sacrosanct. And for those of you who are not in the know, it is a chain of pubs that are renowned for taking over quirky buildings. There's been some former churches, laundrettes, etc., that have been revitalised. They sell a wide range of alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages, and they have a very extensive but cheap menu. And as my son was the chef there, I can vouch for the fact that you don't need to have gone to culinary school to cook any of the food, because it is your classic pub fare. Heat up a lasagna, grill a piece of steak and put it with some frozen chips that have been cooked. I still would prefer the Rose and Crown because it is the more traditional pub, because Weatherspoons have not been around since the 50s, the 60s, etc.
That is true. I do think one thing they're missing out on, though, is why don't they do a full English breakfast?
Well, yeah, true.
Because that would, that's kind of, you want some proper British fare. I mean, you can't beat a full English.
True. And I do think that we should have available on the patio area an afternoon tea and the breakfast. And I think it should be a traditional English breakfast. Yes, we're going to serve baked beans. And I'm sorry, our lovely, beautiful Americans, you're just going to have baked beans with your bacon when in England, just like we have to have our bacon with your pancakes. So I think, yeah, that's a great idea.
Be more culturally relevant, perhaps.
Yeah, because the Great English Breakfast is a steadfast staple of many people's upbringing. And because now World Showcase is opening up much earlier, because before it used to be 11 and most people will have had breakfast, now it's opened up much earlier. I think that would be really, really good. Quick little fact I did find out for you, Jayne. The very first Weatherspoons was opened in 1979 in Muswell Hill in North London, and it was originally called Martin's Free House, and it was renamed in 1980 because the founder, Tim Martin, obviously Martin's Free House, it was his former primary school teacher, Mr. Weatherspoon.
Did not know that. And you know what? I kind of presumed that they've been around for much longer than that. So
yeah, it was originally a bookmaker's that they'd converted into a pub.
Yeah, they do a lot of banks and things like that. They a lot of really old buildings that they are refurbishing, repurposing, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Weatherspoons do have a rule, which I think would be the final killer to your plan, Jayne. Their 10-minute rule of order to table.
Yeah, maybe just tweak the menu a little bit then.
Yeah, and just for final little bit of pub knowledge, the Bingley Arms in Bardsley, West Yorkshire, is widely considered to be the oldest pub in the world, with its history dating back to 953. common
Wow.
era. And that's West Yorkshire, near where I live.
Yeah, you see, I've got one in Nottingham called Yield Salutation. That's supposed to be one of the oldest pubs in the UK as well.
Yeah, yeah. Over 1,000 years old. I've never been there, but maybe when Kat and Lewis come over, it could be a place I take them to.
There you go, place of interest, historical
Absolutely.
significance.
Yeah. And it's in the Guinness Book of Records. Although I was thinking about taking them to the Tetley Brewery because you can't come to Yorkshire without having a proper Tetley pint.
I thought you meant Tetley tea there for a minute, Shell.
No, I think it's going to be the alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, that's been interesting, Jayne. I think to finish off this week's show, I thought we could have a little look at the theme park attendance categories that have come
Okay.
out with the
Yes.
localized, just released data. And it's quite interesting when you look at it to see which part of the world has the most theme parks in it. And it's a very tight run from the Far East with China, Hong Kong, Japan, and South Korea
Mm.
and America.
Okay.
You have got Walt Disney World in Florida, 6 parks, 68 million attendees.
Mm.
California, 36 million. So very interesting data. No surprise to us as Walt Disney World fans that the most attended was the Magic Kingdom, then Disneyland, Universal Studios Japan, Tokyo Disneyland, Shanghai Disneyland, then the Shemelong Ocean Kingdom in China, Tokyo Disney Sea, EPCOT, Hollywood Studios, Disneyland Park at Disneyland Paris, Disneyland California Adventure, Universal Studios Beijing, and then Universal Studios Florida. So that's your top 13.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I think a lot of people were kind of expecting or kind of wondering whether or not with the opening of Epic that that could affect Disney's ranking in all of that, but obviously it hasn't.
No, it hasn't at all, which is quite interesting. It does go on and list other things as well, like museums worldwide. We kind of are miles behind China because they have 106 million guests in this year surveyed going to the 14 museums of note in China.
Wow,
So, wow,
that's
never
a lot of people.
realised. Yeah. So lots and lots of data broken down. It's a fascinating, gosh, how many pages? 43-page review. If you are planning a trip to the Far East to go and you want to do a bit of starting of research of where to go, here's a good starting point.
Mm,
All very
interesting.
different as the years come forward and more parks get opened in the future.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the impact of Dubai and places like that have on those ratings and rankings.
Yeah. Anyway, until next time, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.